Orthodox Christianity, we have a very clear view that we're not saying that anything is inherently evil. And we would argue that even the ancient Jewish theology itself didn't say that the animals inherently were evil. Like if you were forbidden to eat, a buzzard, it's not because a buzzard is inherently evil, because God created all things. But what's key to see here is that this theology is immediately set against a lot of other animistic and pagan theologies, because what they would do is deify, or a form of pantheism, they would deify the created world. So they would actually think that certain animals have an animal spirit. They would believe in transmigration of souls or reincarnation. Yes. So if your uncle Bobby died, Bobby is now in perhaps the body of that cow, right? So you can't,
or the cow could eventually become a person if it just tries hard enough.
If it just waited, exactly. Now, it's no accident that this is the predominant worldview of most ancient pagan religions. They believed in reincarnations. Not all of them were obviously vegan, but it is interesting that certain religions were, like the Brahmanic tradition, the Hindu tradition. They do have very strict rules and weird kind of superstitions about that. And so Paul is actually anticipating these kinds of movements. And in fact, 1 to 2 generations after Paul, you actually have false teachers doing the very thing that Paul says. So in another letter to Timothy, he mentions the Gnostics. And so the Gnostics would do this. They would forbid marriage. They would forbid all these things. So real quick, I wanted to read not too long after Paul, right around 200, you have the quote from Saint Hippolytus of Rome. And Saint Hippolytus wrote a treatise called Refutation of All Heresies.
Yeah.
So early on in this first book, he mentions in chapter 21 the Brahmins. He's talking about Hinduism, and he says that the Indians have a sect where they have these guys who sit around and they meditate, and they believe that all reality is all one, and basically you're just regurgitating. And so if there's reincarnation, then you don't want to eat meat. And he specifically says we reject that because of the theological implications.